hello, namaste to all the viewers and students of SSC over there. And we know that today the whole world is fighting against Corona, and let's hope for the best. So in these tougher times, let's make best use of the time which is available right now. Now, today in my session, I am going to discuss about some tips which may be useful to you to score more marks in paper 1 and paper 2 of English, right? So we know that an English paper, a typical English paper consists of 3 sections, section A, B and C. Now can anybody tell me that which section is more scorable? Yeah, everybody would say that section A is more scorable, but believe me, section C is more easier and it is more scorable than any other section. Okay, but let's first focus on section A. We all know that section A comprises the questions which are related to reading comprehension. Right here, many of us fail to understand the nuances of reading. Here, readings can be done in 2 different ways. Today, I am going to give you 2 techniques with which you can answer any question that is asked in section A. Right. The 2 techniques are skimming and scanning. Okay. Skimming is required to get the central idea of the passage, given passage. But for paper 1, this is not required because all the passages which are taken in paper 1 comes from textbook only. So here, skimming is very much useful for paper 2. Right. So in skimming, what a student has to do? A student has to read the passage thoroughly once so as to get the central idea of the passage. Once the student gets the central idea, then it's time to scan the passage to elicit the answers from the passage. While eliciting the answers by scanning the passage, here we have to adopt 3 different types of readings. They are read the line, read between the lines and read beyond the lines. So what is reading line and read between the lines and read beyond the lines? It's very simple. See, if you read a line, try to understand what is the meaning of that particular line. That is reading the line. Then what is reading between the lines? See, when you read the first line and when you read the second line or the second sentence, definitely there exists some relation between the first line and the second line. There will be some flow of logic, some flow of meaning from the first sentence to the second sentence and the third sentence, ultimately to the last sentence. So here, while reading, when you understand the first sentence, then try to understand the relation between the first and the second sentence. That is known as reading between the lines. See, sometimes what happens, the author or the narrator or the writer, it doesn't convey the exact meaning in the sentence directly. But if we analyze, if we study deeply, if we understand the sentence, the writer is saying something beyond the sentence, and that is known as read beyond the line. For example, let's say he is a doctor and he is working in a private nursing home. So the first sentence is saying that a person is a doctor, and the second sentence is saying that he is working for a private nursing home. Now, if the question comes, is the doctor working for a government hospital? Okay, it is clearly given there how In the second sentence is saying that he is working for a private hospital. It means that if we understand deeply, he is definitely not working for any government hospital, which is not mentioned there, but we can definitely get the idea by reading these two lines. This is what I mean to say, read beyond the lines. So if you apply these three types of readings, and if you apply these two techniques, that is skimming and scanning, definitely a student can easily understand the passage, the whole passage, and can elicit the answers easily and effectively without much difficulty. So next time onwards, so when you are attempting the examination or when you are practicing the paper, try to adopt this technique, skimming and scanning, and definitely you will get more marks. And here I would like to give one tip here. Don't write too much of information for any question. Understand the question and give the answer straight away in a simple sentence. It is our general practice that majority of the students will dump the entire sentence or the number of sentences in the answer booklet immediately the moment they see a word which is found in the question and that is there in the paragraph. So this is a wrong practice. So the better practice is to adopt this particular style, skimming and scanning, and elicit the answers. Right. Now, this is one strategy. Now, coming to the section C. We know that section C covers the creative writing area, and in this we have to answer essay type of questions, and in this we have major and minor discourses. So these major and minor discourses are categorized into two groups, Group A and Group B. Group A consists of story, narrative, conversation, description, drama or play script, interview, choreography as major discourses, and message, notice and diary writing as minor discourses. Now, Group B consists of biography, essay, report, that is news report, speech script, letter writing as major discourses, and poster, invitation and profile as minor discourses. For majority of the students, I'm sure that majority of the students feel this as the difficult area, but believe me, this is one area where we can score more number of marks. How? I will explain you, I will let you know how it is possible. Fine. Whatever it may be the discourse, I say that description is the basic major discourse. You just practice on description, and I can say that you can easily migrate to any other discourse without much difficulty. I can give you with that one particular example, but after my session. Fine. What is description? Description is nothing but to describe in detail. It may be about a person, a place, or an occasion, or an incident, or anything, any subject. Fine. If you describe a series of events, that becomes narrative. That's it. So once you are perfect in writing description, you can easily migrate to narrative. How? See, in description we are giving details about one particular person or maybe an incident or a place or something like that. But if we give these details in a series, like how the incidents took place, that becomes narrative. Okay, with my example at the end of my session, you can better understand how it is possible. Right. Then if you add any twist, see, I am saying that the series of events is becomes narrative. And while writing these series of events, if you add any twist to that event, that becomes story. Okay. Now, in the story part, definitely we will come across some characters. Fine. So, if you are writing some conversation, some dialogues in direct speech, that becomes the conversation. Okay. Now, to that speech, if you add a little bit of twist, it becomes the drama script. But drama script requires additional two features like movements and feelings that you can add in brackets. Fine. Now, if you write series of events from birth to death, it becomes the biography. And see, if you are addressing, if you are adding some lines which means to conclude any idea, that becomes the speech script. And if to this script, if you add answers to the questions like WH questions like what, where, why, when and how, that becomes the news report. Okay. Now, this I can discuss in detail a little bit after this session. Right. Now, coming to the minor discourses. See, minor discourses are always short and they are effective. They should have one particular layout and design. Okay. The minor discourses are message, notice and diary, which are given, which generally you come across in paper 1, and poster, invitation and profile that you come across in paper 2. Fine. Narrative, conversation, descriptive, drama, interview, choreography, message, notice and diary. These discourses are always taken from the textbook. So, at the end of every chapter, every unit, it is better to think about the possible discourses. For example, if we take the first unit, that is the story of Nick's attitude is altitude. In this particular unit, we can think of a diary entry as the minor discourse and a conversation between Nick and his mother as the major discourse. Okay, and similarly for each and every unit you can think of some major and minor discourses, and you can practice as I said just now a little while ago. Fine. Now the other major discourse that is for sure is any student would feel easy, and I'm sure that for this particular discourse any student will get more number of marks, that is letter writing. Okay, now I will give you some details about letter writing. There are, broadly I can categorize letters into two types, formal letters and informal letters, that's it. What are formal letters and informal letters? Fine, any letter that is written to a friend, a family member or a relative can be called as informal letter. Friend, family, relative. And other than these three types of letters, the rest of the letters can be categorized as formal letters. Fine. In an informal letter, definitely while evaluating the paper, the examiner will look for the proper subscription and superscription, that's it. In any informal letter, we need not follow particular features like address and other things, but an informal letter should and must consist one superscription and subscription, date and place. Okay. When coming to the formal letter, a formal letter should definitely consist one proper layout, like to address, from address, date and station, body of the letter, and apart from these, a subject and a reference part. Okay. Why a subject and reference part are added in a formal letter? It is considered that we write formal letters in case of official matters and business matters. So in these occasions, we consider that, we assume that the person who is receiving this particular letter is an important one, is an important person, and we consider that his time is more precious. So for that reason, instead of, maybe let's assume that that person may not have the time to read the entire letter. So in such kind of circumstances, we write the gist of the letter in the subject part, and for our letter, if we have any referential letters, or if we have any references, that we will mention in the reference part. Here also the proper superscription and subscript are considered very important. For example, if you are writing to your superior officer, definitely the superscription must be respected sir, and in that case the subscript must be yours faithfully. For example, a student is writing a letter to the headmaster, the class teacher, definitely the superscription is respected sir, and then the subscript must be yours obediently. Okay. Let's assume that a superior officer is writing a letter to his subordinate, then dear sir or dear with the name, this should be the superscription, and in the subscript part yours truly is enough. So this is how you can, an examiner will look for the details in the letter writing. But once we look into the marking strategy by the examiner, definitely you can understand that where you can score more. See, in a letter writing, to and from address, if to and from address is there, it carries 1 mark. If superscription is there, it carries 1 mark. If subscription is there, it carries 1 mark. Date and station is there, it carries 1 mark. So put together, for all these components of a letter, that is to and from addresses, superscription, subscription, date and station, these 4 components consist 4 marks, and the rest of the 6 marks are awarded to body of the letter. See, a student has written all the 4 components, but he couldn't understand the question properly, and is somewhat not good at English, so he did not write the body of the letter. In that case, the examiner won't give these 4 marks. If a letter consists a proper body, then only these 4 marks are awarded. See, that is a question in which a company is looking for an employee. They have some vacancy and they have given a paper notification, and in that notification they have clearly mentioned that they are looking for a clerk, for the post of clerk, and they are asking the suitable candidate to apply for the post of the clerk. So here, if this is the question, we go for formal letter and we write that to the manager HR, so and so company, date and station, okay, respected sir. In the subject line, we write application for the post of clerk, and in the referential part we have to clearly mention the notification in the daily newspaper and so on so date. Okay, that becomes your first part of the letter. And in the second part of the letter, that is the body of the letter. There you are writing, so I am so and so, I am a graduate of science from government degree college, something like that. So you are just writing that stuff. See, if you write at least some stuff, for the what is date and station and the superscription, the marks will be awarded. And you just simply leaving the body of the letter, no mark is awarded. Fine? No. So you just write something at the body of the part, so that at least the examiner will try to award these 4 marks. So at a minimum we can say that, I can say that for any letter writing, if you adapt this strategy, that see that all these components, these 4 components are written including the body of the letter. Maybe it is not in a proper way, but if you attempt to write somehow the body of the letter, a bare minimum we can expect 4 marks for any letter. So this is how, see, it may be section A or section B or whatever it may be. So 4 marks nowhere you can get. So it is possible only in section C. That's why I consider section C as more scoreable section. So students, you just focus on section C, and as I said a little while ago, you just practice. Not how you can practice, I will give you just in 1 minute. Fine. Now here I have some more tips to give you based on this 10th class examination. Majority of the students, what they will do, they are the right answers as per their convenience and as per their easiness. But as a senior teacher and as an examiner, I always suggest you to, if possible, what is follow one sequence as it is given in the question paper. You always start writing the section A first, then section B, and this go for the section C later. Even in section A also, just try to follow the sequence which is given in the text, which is given in the question paper. Always try to answer. I am not saying compulsory, but always try to answer the first question first. That definitely leaves a positive image on the side of the student. So examiner will always try to award you more and more marks. Okay, and it is a bad practice that many of the students do is that they draw margin lines on all 4 sides of the answer paper. So it is mere time waste, and it doesn't attract the examiner. So it is always better to draw margin line only on one side of the paper, that is, try to take 1.5 inch of margin line. Okay, then at the top you can draw one more margin line. Okay, right, these are the things. Now coming to one more important area that I would like to discuss with you is that majority of the students, while writing the answer paper, they commit mistakes in 4 areas. And what are they? See, the types of errors that mainly a student is supposed to make it: number 1, spelling mistake; number 2 are syntactic error, that I can say structural error; number 3, punctuational errors; and number 4, semantics. Students, that I have seen so many times that while writing the answers, while writing the notes, students often make commit mistakes at the spelling part and the punctuational part. Okay, they forget to write capital letters, so capitalization is very essential, and spelling part. Okay, then syntactic error or structural error. Structural error or syntactic error, that is connected with the grammar. Okay, so while writing an answer or while writing any sentence, if you fail to write that particular sentence as per the grammatical rules, that becomes an error, and there is a chance of losing mark. Then the semantics. What is semantics? Semantics is a different semantics error is that your sentence is correct according to the grammar, but it is conveying a different meaning. For example, if I say that, if I write like this, Ramesh is a student, she lives in Siddipet. Definitely there is no mistake according to the grammar. She lives in a right student. She lives in Siddipet is the right sentence. But here the pronoun she is referring to the other noun that has already come in the passage, that is Ramesh. Here Ramesh is masculine gender and we are addressing Ramesh as she. We are saying that she lives in Siddipet. So though the sentence is correct, but the semantics, the meaning that it is conveying is different. So it is also considered as a mistake. So these are the 4 different types of mistakes that you need to think of while answering question paper: spelling, syntactic, punctuational and semantics. Okay. Now students, I will show you a story that I have developed. First, I will show you how I have written a description, and from that description how I have developed that particular description into different other discourses. Okay. Now let's have a look at the story. For your convenience, this you can practice, and such a kind of description you can practice at your home. Right. A small description, a description about a boy, about a person. See, Ramu is a tall boy. He got an oval face, black eyes and an upturned nose. He wears a bowler hat. Under the hat he has curly hair. He got blue eyes with a lovely look, etc., etc., etc. This is a description. Now see how I turn this description into a narrative. Now I am developing another narrative from the same description. See, Ramu was standing at the bus stop. A car was coming with a high speed. It was heading towards the bus stop. The driver is not controlling the speed. It almost hit Ramu and stopped at once. The driver got out, etc., etc., etc. So here in the narrative part, I have written the series of events that occurred in an order. Okay. From the same description, I took the example of Ramu and I am just continuing by writing the series of events that occurred. Ramu was standing, a car was heading speedily towards the bus stop. Okay, the driver was unable to control the speed and it almost come to a stop. Almost it closely hit Ramu. So this becomes the narrative. Now continuation to this narrative. See, if we add some twist to this narrative, it becomes the story. Okay, now how I applied that technique here. See, Ramu got furious and asked the man who he was and why he was such careless about driving. There entered another man into the picture with the camera. This is the twist. Okay, about this person I haven't spoken. So there entered another man into the picture with a camera in his hand. He introduced himself as a cameraman of a television company. Now this is the twist in the narrative. Now this becomes your story, right? Now in this occasion, here we can write a conversation like this. Ramu is asking, who are you? Now are you with him? He is asking the second person about his introduction. Now that cameraman, that person who is holding the camera is saying that, sorry to trouble you young man, we are shooting a conceptual prank. Okay. Ramu said, oh my God, I was really horrified. So this is how we are, based on the situation, I have developed a conversation. So if we add some feelings and expressions along with gestures, it becomes the drama. That's it. So here, to these dialogues, for example, Ramu, there, who are you now? How are you with him? Within the brackets, if I write something like that, Ramu with horrified face, in a troubled voice, a cameraman, there in the brackets, if I write something like that in a casual way, that becomes the drama script. Okay. Now, in the same occasion, to this description, suppose I am writing like this. In an incident at General Bazaar on the main road in the morning at 10:30 a.m., 10:30, a car almost ran into a man. Here, in this particular thing, I am trying to give the answer to the questions like when, where, what and how. Where? At General Bazaar on the main road. At what time? At 10:30. Okay. What happened there? How it has happened? A man was standing at the bus stop. A careless driver drove into the bus stop onto the man. He later found to be a drunken. So this becomes your news report. So once you mastered the skill of writing a description, easily you can migrate to any other discourse. Okay. Now one last but not the least. So if you are writing a story, see that that story should consist a title and a moral. Okay. Guys, hope you got these tips very useful to you, and try to practice writing these discourses as per the instruction that I have given a little while ago, and make your examination a successful one. Thank you.